Hooker is out of his fight with Bobby Green. Boy, that's a blow, right? I mean, Hooker is putting together such an incredible base, like an army of supporters coming along, anything he wants to do. In fact, this is scheduled for a co-main event. December 2nd, out in Dallas, Texas. Hooker versus Bobby Green, co-main event, but they knew they had something real special here. They made it 5 rounds. Now, the last guy in the world you would ever think would pull out of a fight, Dan Hooker, has had to pull out of a fight. What do we do now? There's a guy named Saint-Denis, and he was a special forces guy. His special forces, the French version, was equivalent to a Navy SEAL by the American version. I'm quoting, that's what I was told as he led into his fight at the Garden against Strembola. Okay, I like this Saint-Denis a lot, and I would like to see him get matched up with Bobby Green. I'm throwing an idea out. I'm going to need somebody that the people can get behind. I'm going to need somebody that is dog tough, that can follow the golden rule, which is to protect yourself at all times. I don't know if there is anybody tougher than Dan Hooker, so we're not fully going to have to worry about replacing Dan Hooker, but we are going to look at Bobby Green and just exactly what he is capable of doing over 25 minutes, and if we're going to keep that element part of the fight, meaning rounds 4 and 5 are going to exist, even though it's a non-title match and it's not the main event. If we're doing that, we need somebody who can hold up. And Saint-Denis is just that guy, in my opinion. And I know a lot of names are going to get floated around right now, and I know a lot of names are not going to be offering for it right now. It's a big opportunity, but it's not a main event. I get that. It's a big opportunity with a good placement of co-main event, but it's not on a pay-per-view. I understand that. It's an extra hard night out because it is not a main event in a title fight, but you want me to do the length of a main event or a title fight. I get it. It's going to take a special guy. It damn sure is not for you all, fighters. The majority of you that got into this just so you could cut lines at your local strip club and just get a little bit of shine and a little bit of fame before you go back to flipping tires. This is not a call out for you. But there are some guys that this is just the bill. And I don't think that Saint-Denis is going to be in huge competition if he gets a hold of Maynard or Shelby and says, put me in. That's the name I would like to insert and have go forward. And it is so important that you have a job to go to when you get done with job today. All of you do something for a living, a job. And if somebody was to ask you, what is the most important thing you could do? You're going to give an answer that you think that the boss wants to hear. I understand that. But after we dig and sift through that, what is the most important thing while you're at work today? What is the most important thing that you be sure you achieve? Be on time, pay attention, have a good attitude. Don't take extra long breaks. Be there early, stay late. Get credit for the work that you do. Make sure what I do and the expenses that come with it are exceeded by the revenues and the profits that my work bring in. Like, these are all really beautiful answers, but the number one for all of us, no matter what you do, the number one thing you need to make sure that you do today is that you create an opportunity to come back to the same job tomorrow and do it again. That is the number one in front of making a masterpiece, making the company a bunch of money, having a wonderful attitude, guiding, mentoring, leading, cleaning up behind yourself, all these beautiful things. The number one most important is to make sure you can come back to a job tomorrow. So that's where the call out becomes so important. And I can't get off Brendan Allen calling out Robert Whittaker. I can't get off of it. It's a great fight. I don't predict for you that Brendan can win. There was 5 years of my life where there was not a man that weighed 185 pounds and was not named Israel Adesanya who had any chance at all of beating Robert Whittaker. I thought Whittaker beat Adesanya the second time. I personally thought he beat him, but there was nobody else that I saw. Robert Whittaker was the clearest number one contender. Well, with all that praise and all that honor and respect that I just gave Whittaker, it's very hard to look at him in this field of work when he will not observe or refuses to observe or has made so much money that he doesn't have to observe the key principle, which is make sure I have a job to come back and do tomorrow. And Robert Whittaker, as of right now, has no job to come back to tomorrow. And he had a guy help him. Brendan Allen helped him. Robert was nowhere to be seen. Brendan Allen, very sweet, very polite. It was his moment. Brendan Allen has never had a moment in sport like this. I want him to thank me. I want him to give me a shout out. I know he listens. I know he follows me over here. I know he takes little pieces of advice. I want him to thank me, but he had to narrow it down to one. His father was hoping that would be him, and his mother was hoping that would be him, and the matchmakers hoping it'd be them. And the owners and trainers thought maybe they were going to get a shout out. I'm admitting I wanted one. None of us got it. You want to know who did get it? Robert Whittaker. And Robert Whittaker didn't want it. It didn't make him feel good. He didn't think this is a young, hard-working man who's climbed his way up, and before I know it, he's where I used to be. He's in the main event on the worldwide leader, beating guys who are really hard to beat. And instead of appreciating that in any degree, or instead of working with that at any degree, instead of looking at that, working with that and telling him, you know what, kid, I got my eye on you. You're getting a little over your skis right here. I'm trying to do something different. I don't know if my something different is going to pay off or not, but you go get one more win. You come see me, whatever I'm doing, I'll make sure we get lined up. That would have been a polite way to blow somebody off. Do you guys remember Joe Silva? In UFC, he was the matchmaker. If you wanted any chance into the UFC, you had to get through Joe. Joe was not afraid of the word no. Joe just found a word and a way to say no in a better way, which was go win 3 in a row, come back and see me. If you go get 3 straight victories, any way you can get them, knockout, submission, decision, but you get 3 in a row, you come see me, I will put you in and under contract with the Ultimate Fighting Championship. And it was just a chance where now everybody, we didn't get the yes we wanted, but we haven't now been told no. It wasn't bad. There's no relationship that's harmed. There was nobody looking down your nose. Obviously what Joe meant is you don't have the skills, the experience, or the record of somebody to be over here. But if you get 3 more in a row, you then will have the experience and a record that looks like guys that we have over here. I just thought that was the opportunity for Robert Whittaker to use that with Allen. It was tremendously helpful. I wanted Allen to say my name. He said Robert Whittaker's name. That's a huge compliment in that moment that he earned the hard way over a killer. I don't want to give Whittaker too hard of a time, but there was a time when Whittaker was a hungry guy trying to figure out how he was going to make it through, how he was going to get his comeuppance. And he had other people extend and give opportunities to him. And Whittaker slowed a lot of those guys because there was not many that were ready for him. The Reaper was something very special. But the denial of a fight because of a ranking or because of a victory over a guy who did not hold a high enough ranking, Brendan Allen just finished a guy who's the reigning world heavyweight champion right now. Brendan Allen was in the ring with and competed very well with the guy who is the reigning world champion in a different division, this current division right now. The skills sure seem to be there. He's a main eventer. That sure seems to matter. He's a main eventer in your weight class where you're sitting at home, possibly with an injury, possibly healed, possibly just unwilling to do it. We don't really know. He's coming for everything that you got, and he telegraphed it. Whether you think he's good enough to take it or not, he just telegraphed it. And he told you who he is, and he told you where he's coming, and he told you who he's coming for. All those things were you. And if you do not think somebody going on TV for your wife, your children, and everybody to hear that I'm coming for every dream you've ever had, for every bit of media you've ever soaked up, for every commentating gig, and for every headline that you've ever dreamed about having, for every placement on the card, and for that beautiful gold belt, I know those are things that you want, but I want them too, and I'm coming to take them, and I'm willing to come right through you to get them. If you don't, if you're not the kind of guy to think those are fighting words, you and me, are just two different people.